Hi, today is the 7th anniversary of the first iTunes that got published in the Times of India. And while it's a very happy occasion, I wanted to share with you what I really learned in the last 7 years. And I've learned a lot. So, what started off with very frankly, my main desire at that time was to find something to do after my retirement and also figure out, it took me some time, about 2 years or more, to figure out how I'm going to do it. And that is write comedy that people read. I like jokes, so I wanted to write something and make people laugh. And more importantly, and very importantly, I wanted to see my name in the papers. So that combination led me to work very hard and create something that got published in the Times of India. Now, why? I think the formula was very good. And the formula was that it was fresh. Nobody at that time, nobody did tech-related humor. Tech had consumed our lives even as early as 7 years ago. We lived on Facebook, if you remember. And we used to spend a lot of our waking hours on the screen. Tech also brought with it a lot of misery. We were forever toying around with productivity tools, trying to figure out how to do things, asking for tech support. And it was very miserable. We had to learn new things. So wherever there is misery, there is a potential for humor, because humor is a relief from something which is painful. And when you share that feeling, when you share the relief with others, humor is a shared feeling. You feel others are also going through it, and that lightens the load. So anyway, this thing started, and the main challenge at that time was to keep it fresh. So, there are examples, I can share them with you, of the early cartoons. So they were not too great, but the great thing about them was they were fresh, they were something innovative for their time. And that's why they caught on. Now, after 7 years, when I look back at what I learned during that time, and also very importantly, during the lockdown and because of the lockdown. So firstly, the process. I've always believed in the process, jokes or nothing comes like a flash of brilliance. You have to work at a process that you develop. I have developed it. And then you have a chance of creating one joke out of 10 that's good. And that you send off. The second thing is you have to partner somebody who is far brighter than you, who is far more capable than you. And I was lucky to have partnered Ajit Nainan. He's an illustrator, he's a visual genius. And now Ian Baker. And both of them actually have done more for the tunes than I did. But anyway, so what have I learned, which is what I want to share with you. Firstly, there were periods of frenetic activity when I produced great stuff, because I was consumed with what was happening around me, and I used to literally put that whole concentration into one point. And it was all a great connect, which when replayed resonated with the reader. So that was a great period. But what happened, and especially during the lockdown, tiredness set in. And I started getting the feeling, is it worth it? Why not just rest? Have a beer, have another beer, sit down, watch a movie, watch another movie, watch a serial, watch another episode, talk to somebody on the phone, talk to more people on the phone. Because that need for connect was very strong. And I took my eye off the ball. And the ball was the concentrated struggle into creating something. Now, once the eye was off the ball, of course, I was cruising because, the process had made me, much more efficient. So at least I could put things on paper that worked. But this whole lack of concentration and real hard work brought along a huge amount of emptiness. Now, emptiness, let me try and explain what emptiness means to me. Emptiness is when you feel that nothing matters. I don't care. It's like developing mental flab, emotional flab. And you just want to lie down emotionally and mentally. You can be walking around 10,000 steps, but your life can be full of emptiness. But emptiness is not, according to me, bad in itself. The problem with emptiness is that the result of emptiness is a feeling of loneliness. Because first you start with nothing matters. And then it becomes, I don't matter to anybody. Because, people don't want to relate to you. Nobody wants to relate to somebody who's living in emptiness. Because the energies that you give off are not very sound. So somehow this loneliness happens, and I don't think anybody can take loneliness. This fear of loneliness is a big thing, especially during the lockdown. And feeling lonely during the lockdown is terrible because physically you're not in touch with people. Okay, so many people say that, okay, I'm on Zoom and I have 3 Zoom calls a week, etc. But that's the difference between, let's say, watching a match on TV versus watching it live versus live on TV versus watching it live in the stadium. So imagine you're watching a badminton match or a tennis match sitting in the front row. The energy that you feel over there is very different from the energy that you feel when you're watching it on TV or watching a replay on TV. The same analogy works for this feeling during the lockdown. You can be in touch with people, but you don't feel their energy and they inspire you less. It's when you come in close contact with people that you're inspired by their aura, their persona. And it is that thing that I miss during the lockdown. To my mind, that is very important to a person who's hungry for ideas, who's hungry for learning. And I miss that. And that has been quite detrimental, and that has led to, that's a vicious circle. So you feel less inspired, you feel more empty. I mean, you have a feeling of more emptiness and you feel more lonely. Not realizing that you need to break it with more activity and more contact with inspirational stuff. Inspirational stuff is best with people who inspire you. You would have your own set of people or find people who will inspire you. Because they rub off a certain energy which prods you into saying, come on, man, do something. Don't waste yourself. And emptiness is all about wasting yourself. So, what I'm trying to say is that my learning is that the solution to loneliness is activity, is connecting with things that inspire you and not connecting for the sake of connecting. I know a telephone call or a hello, it's all very well, emotionally it's all very sound. We all feel good. But according to me, there has to be something that inspires you to action. And that has been my learning, and that is what I think I hunger for, and I'm hoping to get more of it once this lockdown is over. Thank you.